changing who I am. I'm making a new plan, rearranging my life, and I won't look back ever again.
You ain't see me activated. You better hope that you never see me agitated. I think about my actions, plan them out, evaluated. That's how I end up on the top, man, I'm calculated. My mind's a weapon, my body is the engine. I'm never second guessing, I just do what I was destined. Cause I feel I got the blessing, persistence and obsession. That's how you keep progressing, I already learned that lesson, yeah.
I'm changing who I am. I'm making a new plan, rearranging my life, and I won't look back ever again. You can't stop what's moving. You can't stop what's moving. I'm changing my life, and I won't look back ever again.
No fear, see clear, you deserve to be great. I know it feels like things get in your way. Push through those walls and the others will fall. Sit up, stand tall, you can get through it all. I need some energy, anxiety's no friend to me. I have a short memory, I don't really remember things. That's how I move on, that's how I stay strong. A new day's on, I'll keep moving right along. And I feel like the pain in the past, it needs to stay in the past. You gotta take off the cast. I wanna feel like I'm a new person. I wanna have clear vision and purpose. And I feel like the pain shouldn't last. If you can move on and past the things that make you feel bad, and you can change in your brain, I'm certain. I've done it before, and man, I'm not perfect.
I'm changing who I am. I'm making a new plan, rearranging my life, and I won't look back ever again. You can't stop what's moving. You can't stop what's moving. I'm changing my life, and I won't look back ever again.
What is going on, fam? Welcome back to another episode of the Daily Profits with your boy TradeFly, giving you some of the most important market news as well as technical analysis that you can actually use for tomorrow. we're trying to give you that sauce so you guys can get in and out of trades. And we got a lot to talk about today. Bitcoin is working its way down. It did have a nice little bump up there to about 109,000 or so. Had the highest weekly close on record. We had that Sunday, but old Orange Man's up to his usual games, and we got more tariff news. I do think that is a little bit of the reason you might see a pullback today, or you are seeing it. We'll talk about that. We'll see where we can go. There is a nice level. Have no fear. One, you got a lot of support under you. But two, there's a nice level that we are going to look at today live on the show. So stay tuned for that. I'm going to give you guys that level. But first thing I'm going to do is say what's up to my fam. I'm going to give you guys some shout outs because you know that's how I roll. We got all set in the chat. What up to you? How you doing? Good to see you, B Team Crypto. What up, man? Thank you for being here as well. Of course, the best mod in all of the space, Alexandra G's in the house. HRJ Trading, one of my paid analysts, always dropping those fire signals. Thank you for being here. Much love and appreciation. Mike Play, what up to you? Sup, fam? How you doing? Albert's in the house. He said good day. Darren does things. DDT, my dude. Ayo, fam. How you doing? Trade Intuition's in the house. Thank you for being here, my friend. That is Joe, and he is always bringing over his crew, man. Much appreciated. Andrew Cameron in the house. What up to you, man? GM, you know how we roll. Hope all is well with you. Haven Peck, what up? Hands up. I'm here for your memes, Joe. Joe sent me. Right on, man. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you for being here. All love to you and the crew, Joe. Thank you again for being here. Bingo, bango. I'll say it for you, man. Dylan VA, what up to you? Hope you're having a great day as well. Chris Klein, hello. How are you? And scrolling down a little bit more, we got T Bada in the house. What up to you? All right. He is inside an Oreo cookie. How clean is that car? Yeah, so funny you said that. The name of my car, because it is painted black on the outside, and I got the white seats on the inside. You nailed it, man. We named it Oreo. So here you go, man. You're on the spot with that. Of course, my dude Harp is in here. How you doing? And then we got Chris Klein. How you doing? All right, I think I got all of the shout outs in there. Let's go ahead and get over to our first segment. That's going to be the market update. And let's make sure here that I got the screen up, because I got to double check this, because today it's going to be a little bit different with me working from the car here. All right. Hey, man, if you guys ever question my work ethic, or, me giving it to you, what's the right word here? I guess the work ethic is good, but, I'm always trying to make sure you guys don't miss the content you deserve. So, hey, maybe I can get a like for that. Anyways, all right, over to the total market cap. That's currently sitting at, let's see here, 3.34 trillion. That's down 0.62%. The fear and greed index is at 52, which is neutral. And of course, this is all like changing and scrolling. So I'll wait till it comes back. We'll just kind of keep pushing here. Bitcoin is currently sitting at 107,817. That is down 0.87%. Ethereum is at 2518, which seems to be about the happy place, and that is down 1.05%. So not getting beat up too bad. Bitcoin dominance, this is what I was waiting for. It's scrolling. It's at 64.4%. So there you go. Those are the biggies of the market update. Let's go over to the bubbles. We'll kind of knock those out real quick. Pingu's down 7.2%. Saros is up 7.4%. Those are your biggest movers on the top 100. Everything else seems to be about plus, minus 3-4%, kind of in that range, seems to be about the ballpark. But mostly red out there, and it's not terrible. They're not getting crushed. WIF's down 5.1, TON down 5.1, JTO, don't know much about that. That's down 5.6%, and virtual down 4.9. Everything else though, is sub 5, so it's not like they're getting completely crushed. But here nor there, it is a little red out there, unfortunately. All right, over to the heat map. Two areas we want to look at on the heat map. One is going to be about 109,750. That's to the high side. Very simple to find that one. You wouldn't even need the heat map for today to see that that's going to be there. Of course, liquidity is sitting above the price action, right? So where we've seen two rejections already, what's happening? You can see this is coming in late, by the way. All right, so if you look here, yes, there's liquidity. Got it. But that was, remember, this was a little bit hotter. All right, so you had all of this liquidity up here, but now it's getting extremely hot, right? People are starting to put in some shorts and so either putting their stop losses up here, and that's at about, again, 109.750. Keep an eye on that. But right now, what you're starting to see is a trend down, right? A trend down in the price action, but you do have some horizontals, right? And when you see these horizontal levels, what do you expect? Well, just like you're seeing up here, right? So you're seeing stop losses as well as leveraged long plays. All right, so this is where they would get liquidated at about 107.4. Okay, so trend starting to work its way down, liquidity's down here. I would not be too surprised to see it sweep the lows, take this liquidity at a minimum. Okay, so you know that would be an expectation here in the shorter term, is that we would see somewhere around 107.5 or so, I would say, in the next 24 hours. Just a swag guess there, but what does that mean? And this is kind of what I was saying. I'm a little bit, excited about an area because we have a couple things that are lining up right now. You got liquidity, you got your value area high, and then you have moving averages sitting right underneath of you. That's kind of primo. Okay, so value area high obviously is an area you want to respect, but what we'll look for here is the price action. So this is the sauce. All right, so this is what you're going to look for, is you're going to look for the price action to work its way down. You want to see it grab this liquidity. Now, the cool thing about this, when I'm saying you have moving averages underneath of you, is you have a nice spot to bounce, right? So like you have some technical reasons to see that bounce. You have a technical reason to see that wick come off of that area, and that's kind of nice. You don't always get that primo setup. So if you see that, right, if you see the price action work its way down, take the liquidity, reestablish the range. It doesn't really have to come down here, but you now have something that can hold you up as support. But if you come down here and work yourself back above the value area high, that's going to be a good little setup for a quick scalp. All right, now understand, right, we're starting to kind of get our first little,
subscribe
I don't know, we'll say signals of maybe a little bit of a reversal. Okay, you can see it's going horizontal here, it's weakening a little bit, and really you're starting to see some lower highs. Okay, so understand you are starting to see that. If you go down to smaller time frames on the 4-hour, argument to be said that right now, you're starting to trend to the downside, so taking a long position may fight the trend on some lower time frames. I got it, I understand it, but that's why we're talking a scalp. All right, get in, get out. I'm not talking about a big swing trade here, because the old tariff news is bad, right? So we saw what happened last time you had the whole tariff fiasco. Right now, I believe it's with Japan and Korea. Don't hold me to it. We'll have to get over to the news and take a look at it. But here nor there, news has a play. It has a say. It has a say in some of the price action. I've proved that to you. We don't have to beat that up. But coming down here, back to the daily, what I do like is you have a lot of support underneath of you. Okay, so we talked about the moving averages. This is the 21, this is the 50. You got the moving average shift, which is, a ChartPrime indicator. Free one, by the way. It's pretty good, and you can do some cool things. You can tweak it quite a bit, and you can make it mirror some of their paid for indicators. So hint there. But underneath of you still have the previous week pivot. You got the current monthly pivot, all underneath of those moving averages. POC, value area low, previous month pivot. Like it's what we were talking about before when I'm like, hey, you got a lot of resistance over your head. Well, now you got a lot of support underneath of you. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing. But you have the opportunity to maybe jump in some quick scalps, because you're going to get some bounces along the way. It's most likely not going to be just a straight dump through everything that matters. You're going to see some price action along the way, right? And maybe we can take some plays on that when it comes down to these moving averages, especially when you got 3 of them just kind of overlaid, right? All in the same area. You could have an opportunity there to take, a bounce or, some kind of position, a long position off of that. And if you zoom out just a little, right? And I said now it's shorter time frames, you're going to say, hey, we're starting to see some indications of reversal. But if you zoom out a little bit more, you're actually still seeing a pretty clear uptrend, right? We've seen a uptrend in price action since June the 23rd. So, it's been here for a minute, a couple weeks at least. And until we break that trend, really, I'd say if we start losing these pivots here, the weekly pivot, the monthly pivot, then we start reevaluating and we're like, okay, cool. Like that's kind of confirmation, change of character on the daily. We start having a different conversation of like, okay, let's really look at some of these downside targets. Now, if you guys are new or just kind of tuning in, I'll go really quick here because the people that watch my show all the time, they know, they're familiar with these targets. I'd say one of them is about 98K. All right, there's a multitude of reasons. You got the top of the range here. You got the quarterly pivot. You got some technicals, the 0.382 on the fib retracement. There's just a lot lining up in that area. As you continue to work down, it's kind of turning into a zone, to be honest with you, all the way down to about 95.2. You got a lot of confluence in there as well. Okay, so you have the top of a channel, you got the 200 SMA, you got a horizontal. There's a lot going on here. There's a reason I got the B down here because this zone is where I'm looking for some price action, and I do think that you'll see some positive price action out of that zone. That's key to that. So that is that. We'll keep it quick there. As you work your way down here, 88K, 86K, 88K, in that zone, 88K actually, about 88.5 to be more specific. Again, top of the range, you got the golden pocket. You also have a pivot here. Okay, so it is no longer the previous month pivot. It's like that prior month. Okay, so prior to the previous month, so 2 months ago, this is your pivot, and this still remains here. It's just not the previous month pivot. That way I don't have it on the chart for that reason, because it just gets out of control. But there is a pivot in here, and just understand that. So adding a little bit of confluence, adding to a reason where we could see or why we could see a bounce as you work your way down here, about 80K. Again, high confluence area. You got the platinum pocket, you got the median of a channel. There's just a lot down here. You got your yearly pivot. Okay, your yearly pivot. Now that's important. All right, so right there you can see it at about 80K. So again, a lot of confluence down here. Good opportunities if we do see price action work down. Now understand, I'm not here by any means, and I just want to be clear with it, not predicting that we're going to go down here. If you zoom out, it's still bullish. Okay, so don't freak out. But we've had quite a nice push up, right? There's no arguing. This was just exponential, and it happened very fast. No cool offs. It was like push up, a little bit of a cool off, still ascending level of support, push up a little bit, ascending level of support. This is our first real like consolidation period in quite some time, I'd say, really going back to about April. All right, so I wouldn't even really say this was much of a consolidation period. It is, don't get me wrong, but like it was nothing like this. It was nothing like this, and you know, these were just these are just hiccups along the way, or pit stops, we'll say, along the way. Now we're officially in a good range. We really are starting to consolidate, and we're gonna find out, I think, quite a bit about Bitcoin right now. But if you were to take this price action here, look at this price action over here, you're gonna say, you know what, this is the next step up, right? The bulk of the price action has moved a level up in terms of looking at it. Like if you're seeing like, hey, here's your value area high, well, your value area low is above your value area high, right? So it's kind of taking that next step on the elevator, or next level. But anyways, so you know, all is not lost. You got a couple things above you, so this still remains. This level has been awesome. We've hit, you know, I won't say I've hit trading it twice, but we have hit our heads on it. We did hit once trading on this level, but this second one here we did not, right? But still, here nor there, price action has respected it, and that's really what's important right now. So that's confirmation that yes, this is, you know, a valid area of resistance at about 109.735 and a little bit further up. And then of course you have the all-time high. You gotta make it through. You got your 0.382 on a fib extension. You got a trend line here, and this one's going to about 115. But you're also running into the 0.5. So as this extends out, eventually you will have confluence between the two. If you were to work up or continue to work up for price action, that is where I would expect an initial rejection. Understand that, okay? So there's going to be a little bit, I think, of a pullback when it hits. Doesn't mean it's not going to go through it. We're trying to find opportunities where we can get into some trades, you know, scalping or intraday. All right, so there you go. There's quite a few key levels for you there. But again, right now the summary here is we are consolidating. We are in a range, and we're all Gucci right now, to be honest with you, even with the tariff news. So, all right, that is that. Next thing we're gonna do is the daily degen. I know you guys love that. All right, here we go. We got the daily degen up. Let me get over to the chat real quick. I cannot see that. I may have to actually pop it out. Hold on 1 second real quick. Give me a minute here. Pop out the chat. See what you guys got. You're 57% moon right now. I respect that. All right. So hopefully we got the right screen up right now. It looks like we do. Cool. All right, it's a little bit harder when I am on a laptop managing this whole show right now, which is quite insane. I got to be honest with you. All right, so Vic, man, Vic has been popping. I wish I would have got into it a little bit quicker here. It's starting to push already. Let's just go ahead. I don't even know what it's about, but it's been moving to the upside. So we're gonna jump on that. You guys were definitely still voting for Moon. So let me see here. See if I can actually get the chat. Yeah, you guys are 57% Moon. How many votes you got in? 23 votes. Nice. That's pretty solid. So 57% Moon. So the daily DGen, the way this works. Sorry, I just wanted to get into the trade real quick. We really don't do much TA. All right, so we just pick a random poop coin. You guys pick whether you go long or short, and that's really it, man. We just go for it. So already pulling back pretty bad. I guess I was a little late to the party there, but that's all right. That's all right. We're in there. We'll see how that plays out. Looks like it's getting a little bit of a rejection there. Let me see if I can scroll down for you guys. There you go. Nope, that's the open orders. That's your last one. Last one didn't work out, but that's all right. A real trade did work out. All good. Let's go back to the positions here. There you go. That's already down a casual 13%. we'll keep an eye on that. So 0.35. So that's kind of what we'll keep an eye on as we're scrolling through today. Let's go over to, I'm not going to worry about the economic calendar, honestly. Let's just get over to the news. And I think it's all FUD today. So we'll go ahead. We'll sound the siren. We'll get this party started. All right, so first up, we got Binance founder CZ. Should all be familiar with him if you're in crypto land. If you want to get rich quick, don't touch crypto. So it's kind of interesting, right? Because a lot of people come to crypto for what? Because they're trying to get rich quick, man. They hear all the stories about someone getting into a meme. They put the right $1,000 on the right project and at the right time, and here they are driving a Lambo. So a lot of people see that it's a little essence of gambling, but what he's saying is this is a long-term play. This is a real investment now. And if you're into the legitimate projects, or if you're into Bitcoin, it's just not a get rich quick scheme anymore. Like, it's not. Like, I guess it was never a really get rich quick scheme, at least for Bitcoin. I would argue that some of these memes are, but here nor there, CZ is kind of like doubling down on that and be like, hey, you know what? This is an investment now, and I've talked to you guys about that. That's why I'm in the game. I trade, I invest. Where do I think this is going to be long term? Where do I think this is going to be down the road? Like, if you ask me, like, hey, in 5 years, where do you see this? I'm going to say I think Bitcoin's going to be, at a higher price point than it is now. I think it's going to be a good, safe investment, and that's just kind of the way I'm taking that's the way I'm approaching it. All right. Next up, here's the old tariff news here. So he has announced a 25% tariff on Japan as well as South Korea. Two of our biggest allies, no doubt. So we'll see how that goes over. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but this is a piece of the pie. This is kind of why you're seeing a little bit of retracement here in price action, I believe. NASDAQ, yes, that did get to an all-time high. That was in kind of price discovery mode. S&P was up there as well. So, it's natural to see a little bit of a pullback in the overall market as well, just getting up to the highs, getting into price discovery. So not too surprised to see a little bit of a cool off, a little pullback there. But we got some key levels, and we'll get to those key levels here in a minute. Let's go ahead and start doing that now. First thing we're going to look at, though, is going to be USDT dominance. Real quick, we'll look at that. All right, we have this channel here we've been looking at, and we've been talking about all these moving averages, right? The 200 really haven't, I guess you got one close underneath of it, but not too much going on, right? The 50 is really holding up, and the 200's right there in the same area. So you're gonna have to keep that in your scan. You're getting kind of squeezed right now between the bottom of this channel and the 200. So we're kind of waiting for a breakout. And so when I say we're waiting for a breakout, one of the things you're gonna expect to see is like, hey, if we get back into the channel, you're gonna have a nice little move up. And as this continues to work up though, the issue you're gonna run into is you're gonna get squeezed right into 4.92, which is a horizontal level. So then you start talking about, all right, cool, like you got into the channel, but now do you get that ascending level of support? And then if you start seeing that ascending level of support going into a horizontal, I think you're likely to see the break, and then we come back up and try to retest this median of the channel. Okay, so that's really what I'm going to be looking for. All right, so you gotta get in, number one. All right, first things first, get back in the channel. Then you're going to be looking for an ascending level of support right in this purple line right here, which is the bottom of the channel, this trend line, and this horizontal. Right, if you get that ascending level of support, if you get that squeeze going on in there, then I would look for it to break out. So let's do a little drawing here. We'll see how that actually plays out on the computer. And then boom, I'll be looking for something to come up and then retest this area of the channel. To the contrary, if we don't get back into the channel, you could very likely see a retest of the bottom of the channel and then it works back down again. Okay, so this is, I'd say, pretty key to the scenario, right? Here's your key area. That's the area I kind of concentrate on, and it's really this trend line to say where it's going to be. You know, I'd say anywhere between 4.88 all the way up to about 4.92, just to give you some kind of frame of reference if you're listening. But that's really something you got to keep your eye on. If we do break and lose this level here, that means there's an inverse correlation with Bitcoin, right, and the rest of the market. And so if we do lose this area of support, the 50 SMA, I think it could be game on for price action, right? We're going to start talking all-time highs again if we lose this. But that's got to happen. And if it doesn't, then, you know, obviously to the contrary. So again, it's inverse. There's an inverse relationship. And if we do work our way down, the thing that I would be concentrated on, let's say we break out, right? We break out to the downside. Bitcoin breaks to the upside, obviously. But it's right here. Okay, this horizontal level has been in play for quite some time, going back to May and prior, right? We found this level through prior price action, right? So just so you understand, you see very clear support resistance. We came back down, we retested it, and it's been support ever since. So if we were to move down on USDT dominance, then if you're in a play on Bitcoin, right? If you're going up, you're going to price discovery, whatever that case may be, and you see it lining up with like, hey, we're getting up to one of those fib extensions that TradeFly was talking about, you know, it might be that opportunity where you're like, you know what, this could be your signal to be like, maybe I'll close this long. Okay, once you get back down here, because the expectation is that you would likely see a not a rejection, but a bounce here for USDT dominance. All right, let's go over to the total market cap. Let's see where we're sitting at there. This trend line right here is just, it's been holding up. And as you can see, we've gotten rejected off of that trend line again, but it is retesting. Okay, so it's trying. It is making an effort, but now you're starting to have confluence between a horizontal level as well as that trend line, all lining up in the same spot at about 3.33 trillion. Again, breakout retest is what the name of the game here. If we see breakout retest, right, comes up, retest, and then go, then we're looking at 3.5 easy, I think, for the total market cap. So that's something to keep an eye on. I do think that will be in correlation. USDT dominance will go down. Bitcoin and total market cap will go up. Again, if we lose that key level with the USDT dominance. But as you can see here, like it's a squeeze. It's just an inverse. It's kind of interesting, to be honest with you. Let me get rid of that real quick. It's very interesting because you're getting a squeeze. The moving averages, right? That's like the resistance on USDT dominance, but then you have this trend line here. That's like that area of support. So you're squeezed in on dominance. You're squeezed in on USDT, or correction, on total market cap, and you're squeezed in on USDT dominance. So very, very interesting. I think we're really at some key levels right now. Let me go back to the daily degen real quick. The reason I am going back is just because I saw it move. Okay, so I want to go check to see. Man, this thing is, with a laptop, there is like, it's very hard for me to move. All right, so it's down about 5%. So need a little bit more of a push up there. Now about 1%. We're going to keep an eye on this because it looks like it's trying to make a little push up to test this high. let's zoom out just a little bit. Again, we don't do a whole lot of TA on this, so I don't get too wrapped around it. But let's go to the 4 hour. I just want to see. Yeah, that's just crazy. Oh, it's right at the high. I don't know, guys. I don't know if this is one we should take a log on, even though we did, but here's what it is. Daily Degen, man of the people. I do what you want. All right. I don't have high hopes. We'll see. We only need, what? 30 minutes? 30 minutes. We just need this thing to go up. Let's go back to the charts here. We will look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ's pulling back. No big surprise there. What are we looking for in the NASDAQ? Well, we're looking for it to come back and retest the high here. Okay, so very simple. Horizontal level of support. It's already retested it once. Logical movement here would be for it to come back and retest again. It's, you know, it would make sense. There's nothing really else that we could do in terms of predicting where this is going to go. But you know, if you go back and look through the historicals, it goes up and right. I mean, that's about the gist of it. Very few times do you have significant pullbacks, and this one was the bear market, right? So that's post the vid, and so that makes a lot of sense. You know, the economy was shut down, so there was a hole we had to dig out of. Also, too, you know, they were printing some money, so you got to pay the piper at some point. We did, and it's been up and right ever since. So the natural trajectory of this would really to be continuation. But we're looking for key levels. Where can we get in? Where can we find some price action for the NASDAQ? Really, I see that being this horizontal level right here. And by right here, we're going to say that's at about 20,000 up to about 20,200. All right, so there's a nice little zone for you. Now, keep an eye on that, because if you do break through it and you break out and retest to the downside, then you could be looking for some movement down to about 19.1. Okay, 19.1 is a nice little horizontal, aligns with the value area low here, about 19.1. So that could be a good opportunity to see some price action, a little bit of a bounce there. But what you're hoping for too, right? You're already getting the 50 moving up pretty sharply. Would really be the 200. All right, so if you get that 200 to kind of meet up with about 19.1 there, where you have a nice little horizontal, that'll give you a nice little bit of confluence, and I would say it'd be a nice opportunity for a bounce in that area. So let's get rid of this. Let's make it a little bit cleaner here for you guys. So breakout, come down, retest, and then you look for that, and then look for that play. That, in my mind, would be a nice little play. All right, so breakout, retest, come down, kind of confirmation. You may take a short there, but really my higher confidence play would be 19.1 if this 200 SMA works its way up. So that would be a nice one right there. So we'll keep an eye on that. I'm sure we'll talk about it a little bit more, but that's what you would be looking for out of the 200 SMA. You get all that confluence right there, and then you take that long position really right up to this horizontal level. So what would that look like percentage wise? It's about a 4.2. Ain't too bad. All right, NASDAQ, hit that up. Let's see, SPX, we can take a look at that. I haven't done a lot of TA on it. So samesies, really. You don't have the I'd have to look here to find you another. Yeah, there's a little bit of a horizontal right there. So it's kind of like the same thing. It's not surprising to see them look very similar though. Nice little horizontal right there. I think we can dump this now. But right here you can see some price action. You come back left on the chart, you can see kind of blocks of both support, resistance, as well as some nice wicks off of that area right here. This is like the last test of that area of support, then it broke down. So that's a nice little confirmation that in this zone right here at about 5924, about 595, you should have an area of support. Again, looking for that 200 to kind of work its way up. You get that 200 to work its way up here. You retest that zone at any point. If price action does come down, that'd be a significant pullback. But if you do, this again, you know, just like the NASDAQ, would be a nice little spot to look at taking a position, you know, if you missed a lot of this move. So I'd mark that on your charts. I'd probably move that up to about 595 or so. Just make sure you get the alert. I'll put one on myself actually. So here we go. That's in there. We'll see if the price comes back down there. But again, I think the 200 in conjunction with a nice horizontal level would be a nice play on the SPX. All right, let's go to the chat real quick. I'm going to scroll down just a little bit, see what you guys got going on. I know I missed a lot. Sorry. Again, I'm on my computer today, so... No, Dutchy, I am not going to strip in the Tesla, man. It's about as naked as I'm going to get for you. All right, scrolling a little bit more. Just kind of going through the chat here. All right, you guys are crazy as usual. Dutchy stirring it up. Kyle Fields, what up, man? Good to see you. Meet Damien. What up, dude? How you doing? Yeah, Lord, Dutchy. Be easy, man. Oh my gosh. Mark, you're a trip, dude. Drew, how you doing, man? Good to see you. Thanks for being here. All right. Cool. I don't see too much in the chat. Just want to give you guys some shout outs there. All right, let's see. Let's go back over the charts. Let's hit up ETH real quick. Kind of the standard go around here. So some of you that tuned in late, I'll go back to Bitcoin real quick, and after ETH, and I'll show you an area I'm looking at for a nice little setup, I think. And then I'll put it in the Discord as well. All right, so ETH, haven't really looked at that too much today, but still consolidating, still in a range. Clear as day. Clear as day. Got a nice little area of support here, about 2391. Really the top side of that. I don't think we need that box on there anymore. All right, cool. So we got nice little horizontal level. That way, I mean, you got on top of all the moving averages, so I think that's why you're holding up a little bit better than Bitcoin right now, honestly. That was like the tough road to get ahead of, but again, you see, well, it did pop down, but this area of this horizontal level really held you up quite nice. And it took what that's kind of funny, before it made its move. See, that's an ass move right there. So the reason I say that, right, we talk about this all the time. Look at support. Cool. What happens? The liquidity builds up. I'm gonna show you exactly where it's building up, or where it built up. It's an important lesson here. So right there is where your liquidity was. How do I know that? It's just by these wicks, right? So stop loss right below the wick, stop loss below the wick, stop loss below the wick. Take your leverage positions. And I'm not saying to do this. I'm just saying, you know, this is likely what happened. This is why I kind of prefer to get in and out of trades rather quickly, because you don't want it to come back down, especially after seeing something like this, right? And so there's liquidity all sitting here because of the stop losses as well as the leverage long positions. What does it do? Comes back down, takes all this liquidity, what's left of it, and then it says, see ya. All right, so these people get wiped out, right? They made the right play. This is what is so frustrating about trading sometimes, but also why I hawk the liquidity. All right, know where the liquidity is, or you are the liquidity. I guarantee it. Because when I say that, if you were to be like, hey, like I see where this price action is, right? Before you take this position, you know this is at risk. And so all these people are just pissed. They're pissed because they took the right play. They took a long position. The problem is, came back down, took the liquidity, and then went in the direction they were all expecting. All these people here are expecting the price action to go up. And it ultimately did. But right here is the difference. So that's why a lot of times I'm like, hey, cool. Like, I want to see it come down and grab the liquidity. I know that the liquidity is at least right here based on this wick. All right. I know it's right here. So does this count? No. Does this count? No. Does this count? Yes. All right. Then you can go down to your smaller time frames if you want. Start looking at the 4 hour, the hourly, the 15-minute, whatever it is you want to use as confirmation. But look at this, right? Comes down, takes the liquidity, reestablishes the range, right? It's above this area of support. But look at this wick here. This wick right here, call it what you want, give it any name you want. This wick right here shows you buying pressure. It's clear as day. Buying pressure right there, followed by another bullish candle, followed by a change of character. You know, so like all the indications were there for a nice little long for Ethereum, but the key to it all is actually taking the liquidity first. And that's why I'm a little bit more patient. That's why, you know, I'm a little more conservative with getting into trades, because I'm usually waiting for this. There's a lot of people that will take this right here, and ultimately they could be right, especially if they put their stop loss down far enough. Like, they're probably good, right? And that's another thing you got to pay attention to. Like, if you're going to take this limit order, make sure that, you know, you have a buffer. You got to have some kind of buffer in there to be like, okay, cool, like to account for the liquidity that could be taken. But I would say there's a fair amount of times that you'll still get stopped out, because you may not go far enough down, or it doesn't meet the criteria. If you're like one of the 0.3% guys looking for a 1% move, you know, I didn't measure. Let's measure this one. Let's say you were to take this one right here. Let's see if it would have been safe. Nope. So even if you were to do 0.5%, you would have got stopped. Right? So this is the wick you're waiting for. This is the area you're waiting for. And how do you know that? Well, there's a couple ways. One, you can look at the price action. Or two, you can bounce it off the liquidation heat map. This is why I love this map. This is why I use it so much. It's just a validation, right? Like right here, very clear resistance on Bitcoin. 109, you know, 750, cool. Let's go to Bitcoin. Again, Ethereum's still consolidating. You're in the middle of the range. We've kind of beat that up, but let's go back to Bitcoin real quick. Cool. So here you go, all right? Like, you know, liquidity's right here. You got these two highs, these two rejections off of that area. Like, so if you know liquidity's sitting there tight, especially because you now have the map to validate that right here, you can play that wick. All right, if you were to get price action to come up here, you get a nice wick up. You already got a clear horizontal. You get a nice wick up, clears liquidity, liquidity's gone, and then the wick comes down, right? And then you close, right? Confirmation. Let's say you get a bullish engulfing on the 15-minute, or sorry, a bearish engulfing on the 15-minute, you know, or something that looks like that. That can be an opportunity, right? Liquidity's off the table. What's the driving force? What's the driving force to keep pushing the price action up? So it's a probability thing in my eyes. Now, what does that mean? Well, now we have liquidity to the bottom side. All right, and we have a clear trend working its way down. Now that's the scary part about this right now, is that preferably you would like to see this price action working its way up, right? Knowing we have liquidity right here, you would have liked to see this recover, like get a bounce off the 200 on the 15-minute, something along those lines, and then start working its way back up. So you would like to see that, but right now it's pretty decisive in the price action. Like it's just barreling down right now. Okay, so there's elements, there's a little element of risk there, just because like, hey, the trend is showing you on the shorter time frames, like it's looking pretty weak. It's pulling back, but here nor there, what we're looking at, liquidity off the table, reestablish the range, you take a quick play up about 1%, and you put your stop loss below the wick. Now, you know, if it does come down further than that, be careful, right? Because, or if it comes down too far, like if it's more than, I'd say like 0.5% or so, you start worrying about it coming down and then coming up to the value area low and then rejecting and having basically a breakout retest to the downside, which is one of the trade setups that we have posted in the Discord. What am I talking about? Something that looks like this. So you have to wait for the price action to reestablish above the val low in this case. All right, because you could end up with something like this, and that will be a bad day for you. You'll just put your stop loss below the wick, it'll get rejected, come back down, stop you out, game over. And that, you know, right now seems to be the direction we're headed, but here nor there, what we'll be looking for. So this is a little less clear when I'm using the arrows, but basically price will come down. I think you'll see a little hiccup there, or a little bounce, and then what we'll be looking for is it comes down, it takes this liquidity, and then it comes back up. Now I can't draw the candles for you, obviously, but you're looking for something like that in terms of what you'll see on the price action. So in terms of the candles, let's go over here. We're on the 15-minute. So something along this lines, right? You get that wick down, grabs liquidity, comes back up. Look at that. Retest right over the value area high. All right, so closes above, retest, entry. Off and away you go. And you know, you'll look for something like that. Now, the problem is, like, it's not a one size fit all. Like, if you're looking at this, you're like, okay, cool, that's the entry. Like, it can look a number of different ways. That's why I don't get too tied around saying it's got to be a bullish engulfing. It's got to be, you know, some kind of like bullish candlestick that everybody studies. Like, it really doesn't. It just has to take the liquidity, and you have to see buying pressure come in. You see that buying pressure come in, that's going to be enough. And you can see that a number of different ways. You can see it over, you know, you can see it on one candle. You can see it on two candles. You can see it on 3 candles. So anyways, that's a nice little setup that I'm looking for right now. Let's do a little measurement here. Let's see what 1% would look like. 1%. I'll take you all the way back up to the 200. Ah, man, that's tough. You know, just depending on where the wick is, expectation would be below here at a minimum. I'm not sure that I would jump on that for 1%. You can still get yourself a 3-to-1, but I don't know that I'd feel comfortable taking it past the weekly pivot. To be reals with you, this one's gonna be tough. A couple things I don't like here. Just let me explain. A couple things I don't like is, one, you got the previous day low. If you break out and retest that area, look, you can see not only is it the low, but like there's pretty clear price action that shows you that that could be a struggle if it goes below. I would really say this is not really a primo setup, to be reals with you. I like where the liquidity's at. I like the value area high being there. I would like to come down, and I would like to see something a lot like this. But the game is different right now. You got a couple things here that weren't here before. Like I said, nice horizontal is developed. Previous day low, weekly pivot, all right above you. So I would say like this one, if you got into this is where you play this one a little bit more conservatively. Once you get up to the previous day low, then you're probably stop loss to entry, or you use that as a TP1. But this is one where you're going to have to manage it. I wouldn't just full send it and let it go. This is one you're going to have to keep an eye on. So, to the contrary, say you don't have any interest in that. You're not a big knife catcher. You can look at for a breakout retest to the bottom side. So I kind of drew that out for you to be careful of, right? You're kind of like warning of like, hey, like be careful of the breakout retest continuation. That's in play. Faux show. That would be a little bit more, we'll say intraday. There are some pit stops on the way. I'd say TP1 about 106.5. Let's measure that real quick. Yeah, that one's about a 1.75% move. Right here in the middle is about a 0.85. That may not be a bad trade just alone. Just taking it down, taking a little short to there. But you could totally take some profits or move your stop loss at that point too. So the other side of the token, right? If the liquidity is off the table, no longer a factor, then you open up free range, right? Or freedom of movement, we'll say. But that's something for you guys to keep an eye on here in the near term. We are coming down to the previous day low. Let me see here. Let me see. 15 minute. Yeah, so that's right there. There's a lot of people that love jumping on long positions just off the lows and the highs, which is exactly where we had a rejection today, by the way. Doubled up on the liquidity there after it got the rejection, but your previous day high, that's where you got your rejection. Almost to a T. Barely above. I don't know. I just don't like the trajectory right now of the price action. I'm going to have to see a pretty solid bounce to feel a little bit better about reversing our current direction, to be real with you. This might be one of those days you just kind of chill. I'd say again, this is right here where the pivots are. This is where we kind of change our tune. At least for me. Not too worried about if it comes down, breakout retest, works its way down to the pivots. It's a previous week and the current month. Not too worried about it. But if we lose that area, we start having a different conversation, I think. Word. Go back to the chat real quick, see what you guys got going on. All right, DDT, take care, man. Hope all is well, bro. Danny Quest, what up, bro? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. All right, we looked at a couple alts. Let's go. Not a couple alts. We looked at ETH. Let's look at Tesla real quick. Looks like it's getting poopa-doobied. So I was watching Meet Kevin. So we were looking for a breakout retest. We just got a clear rejection out of that area. So 314 was a key level we identified. Does look like a head and shoulders right there. So we're going to take that off just to avoid confusion right now. You did not get a breakout retest. And so therefore that move up to the trend line was invalid. Man, that's a dumb. Look at the gap there. Let's go to the daily real quick. Yeah, you got a lot of confluence here. I remember talking about that. All your moving averages, your 200, your 50, your 21, all in one area, as well as a horizontal level. That was tough sledding, right? That's why I was saying I'd get super bullish if you got a breakout retest of that area for Tesla. But I think they had some negative news too. My understanding is that the bill that was passed, the big beautiful bill, was just nothing but bad for Tesla. Like on multiple levels. So one of the things that was interesting, I was watching Meet Kevin. He's pretty good with like economic stuff. And he was talking about some kind of like green energy credits. I don't know if that's the exact right term for it, but basically credits that other manufacturers will buy from Tesla. And I don't know exactly how they acquire those credits, exactly how that works, the ins and outs of it. But essentially what happened is that bill negated those companies having to acquire those credits. There was some kind of tax benefit or some kind of benefit of acquiring those credits. And I can't remember exactly what that is, but they were essentially buying them from Tesla. Okay, so long story short, they're buying them from Tesla, and that produced $500 million in revenue for Tesla a year. Had they not had that, they actually would have been in the negative. So the expectation is next year that Tesla will be in the negative based on that alone, because they would have been without it. And think about how advantageous that is, because you have no inventory. There's nothing. It's literally straight trade for like, here, take my credits, give me cash. Like there's nothing better in business, because like it you know, like you don't have to really do much for that. So yeah, that's going to be a big hit for Tesla. They're expecting next year. Also the federal tax credit will be gone. So that's $7,500. That's anticipated to slow sales for next year as well, right? Less people will be interested knowing that they're not going to save that $7,500. There was another thing too, like that was advantageous for gas vehicles. Basically they took away the state's ability to mandate I think it was an extra like tax or something. I can't remember. Basically they rehacked something at zero. I can't remember exactly what that was. I know it's a lot of I can't remember everything, but just know that a lot of it was negative for Tesla. That's in summary. No bueno for Tesla. So we'll see how that plays out. So what does that mean? Well, you start looking at some opportunities, right? I don't think Tesla's dead. I think they're going to be here for the long haul. But, you know, some things you don't necessarily like looking at the chart, you know, from a technical perspective, is you got a confirmation. These are lower highs. These are lower highs. Cool. Now we have an area down to 618, about 272 to 265. Like it. I think that might be a nice spot to DCA at this point. So if we start thinking about like, hey, Tesla is probably going to see a pullback, That would be the expectation. And you want to accumulate Tesla because you think for the long haul, for the AI, for the robots, you know, for the autonomous driving, you know, if you think that is still going to be the long-term play, then you start thinking about getting into Tesla at prices that you're okay with. We've already seen it go over $400. We know that's a possibility to see again. So to start accumulating at, you know, 272, 265, you know, that'll be maybe stop one. And then you go down to this trend line, right? Now this trend line right here has been fire. It's been in play since March 20, December 22 respect it, and April 24 respect it. I would see it continuing to move its way up to about the 200 level. Well, what do we like about 200? It's a nice little psychological area. $200. Some people are probably going to jump in with you. And I think you'll likely respect that trend line again. And you're looking to get some confluence between two trend lines. So you got this trend line here that was acting as resistance, and ultimately it broke out, retested, and that's where you got your retest, right? Breakout, retest, continuation off of a very prominent trend line. You're starting to get an area where it kind of lines up. So you get a horizontal level at about 200, psychological, trend line, confluence. Could be an opportunity there for Tesla. So two key levels I'd look at if price action continues to work back. And 265 to 272, and then 200. So that's, I don't know. I won't say it's some alpha, but I think those are two solid spots for you to accumulate some Tesla. If you're into that. I'm gonna end the votes here. You guys keep voting. It's funny that the daily DGen went down, upside down, and you guys continued to vote long. Y'all crack me up, man. You guys are a trip. All right, let's see what Kyle said. The logic is like, if the company isn't going to take advantage of the credits, other companies can buy them, so to take advantage of them. Yeah, I don't know the ins and outs of it, but I do know that that was a huge part. $500 million. That was a huge part of their revenue, and that's going to be gone. So not only are they using the federal tax credit, which is going to slow sales, they're losing that advantage they had, man. I mean, it just, like I said, it just doesn't get any better for somebody to buy those credits off of you. That's such, yeah, that's, I don't know. That one's going to be tough to overcome. I buy Tesla blind under 230. Yeah, man. I mean, you know, like I said, 265 to what, 270 is a pretty good price point just based on the technicals, right? Fib retracement to the golden pocket. You got a few things to confluence that line up in that area. I wouldn't blame you, but 200, you know, that's a nice spot too, man. So maybe you look at two spots there, Andrew. Lower your cost basis. So get in at 230 if it does go down, and then look at another area. Look at that 200 area as well. Obviously NFA, right? But if you're looking at the charts, I would say it makes sense, especially if you look at this. If this means anything to you, and trust me, it means something to me, that would be a spot to look at, especially 200, right? So I'll blindly buy. I don't know if 230 is going to be it, but 200 will that'll probably get your boy going. So I'll take a look at that. All right, man. Fam. I said man. But I'm gonna get out of here. I gotta do got some flying things to do. Hope everyone has a great day. I'm gonna wrap this one up. As always, you guys trade safe, be safe, and I'm out of here.
Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 yeah, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be